Okay, I'm going to be talking about multiplication and division and how you want to approach it. We're going to start, of course, talking about multiplication. You're going to talk about multi, meaning many of the same number, right? And we can see here that I use Unifix cubes to talk about the multiplication of 2, right? As in 5 groups of 2, right? So we're going to see this as 5 times 2 equaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Equaling 10. And we can talk about skip counting by 2's, but you always want to have a reference that really illustrates it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? Now the important part is that now we're going to flip this around to talk about division in a way that some people might not. So we're going to start with 10, right? And most people would say, okay, if you're going to divide 10 by 2, they want to use the sharing model. That's a lot of times the first way that students are taught this. And that means they had 2 friends and they have to share the 10 equally. So then they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And they see that each person got 5. But that's actually not making division the inverse of multiplication, right? This doesn't add up to the model that we're seeing here. So what we need to do instead is we need to start with understanding the first idea of division, which is to ask, if we say 10 divided by 2, what we're really asking is how many 2's, right, make up 10, or how many 2's can you make from 10? And then you can really see, oh, I can make this many 2's, right? You can really see this is how many 2's you can make. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And that's pretty obvious. Now on the lower numbers, you can use Unifix cubes or other larger counters. When we get up to the higher numbers, we're going to start flipping over to using strings with wings. This is particularly recommended for 6 through 9. Strings with wings are made up and you keep them like a set of them. So this would be strings with wings, which is a string with 2 rings, ends tied, and you can see it has 10 groups, in this case, of 7. So you might have a basket of your 7 strings with wings. And over here, I have another one made up, and this one is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 9's, right? So this is the multiples of 9 up to 10. So I'm going to show you this again. So we're going to talk about here when we're talking about multiplying. So we're going to again talk about here. We can clearly see we have 4 groups of 7, right? So that's pretty obvious. We have 4 times 7. What is going to make up? The kids can count it up if they want. She encourages to have them build it so they can really know what's there exactly. So that would be 28. And then if we take this and we're going to do the opposite of multiplication, we're going to do division. We're going to do 28. We're starting with 28. And we're going to divide it by 7. That means how many 7's can we find in 28, or how many 7's make up 28. We're going to see that there are 4, right? Very clearly with our colors, and you want to have contrasting colors like that. Now, the neat thing is that you could also start talking about this with regards to remainders. So we might say, actually, here we have 30 beads, right? And they can have them counted out, right, if they need to. So we have 30 beads here, right? And we're going to say, all right, we have 30, and we're going to divide that by 7. And what we're going to see is that we can make 4 groups of 7, but there's a remainder of 2, right? And we'll talk about remainders meaning left behind, right? So these do not, so we don't have another group. We don't have another group. So again, if we have 30 divided by 7, we're going to have 4 with a remainder of 2. So the strings with wings are really good for teaching remainders. The other thing they're great for is when you're talking about fractions and equivalent fractions and simplifying. So we can also start to talk about this when we're saying, hey, look, I've got something really neat to show you, right? You can say, I have the number here. This is 28, right? And I want to figure out, what is 1/4 of 28? Well, 7 over 28 is the same as 1/4, right? And then you could even do it further. You could say, look, and actually now, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 out of the 28 equals, because actually it's 2 out of the 4 equal parts that make up 28. And we can also think of it as actually 1 out of the 2 equal parts that make up 28, or 1/2, right? So you can use the strings with wings not only for finding equivalent fractions and simplifying your fractions, but also for multiplication and division with remainders. So it's incredibly useful.